To me, it's all about the process, and the first sort of red flag is starting too late. You know, if you only look at the exploration of a merger or other type of collaboration when you're in a desperate situation, you don't have time to go through a thoughtful process. I think the other red flag is when the leadership, you know, executive or board, aren't really mission focused. They're focused on something else, consciously or unconsciously. It could be job security, it could be ego. And I think here, you know, they started early, they went through a professional process. Both groups kept the mission in mind, and so again, it was everything we look for. We didn't see any of the red flags that we see in many cases.
It was near perfect in the sense of working with staff earlier on, the boards, you know, doing the work with the boards, it not being a takeover, being a collaboration from the get-go. You know, I wish we had more time to process things, right? So that, in other words, you know, could you have spent more time with staff to really do a lot more work before the actual execution of the merger? Sure.
So there's really, I think, three major ways in which the merger affected the clients of both organizations, and particularly of Palladia. The first is that just the services were able to continue uninterrupted, and that's so critically important. The second is because of the scale of the new organization, the people who are running the programs have the infrastructure and support that they need to succeed. And the third is really a way in which 1 + 1 = 3 in this merger, and that's the two organizations complementing each other. And that has to do with the historical expertise that Palladia had in substance use treatment and the expertise that Services for the Underserved had, for example, in mental health treatment. Those two issues often are confronting the same person at the same time, and so the organization can now bring an integrated set of services together to meet the client's needs.
I'd say three things about why the merger between SUS and Palladia was so successful. I think one is if you were to talk to people involved in the merger discussions itself, it was always about the mission of the two organizations. It was always, the focus was on the clients. I think the second part is just how much it really was a collaborative effort. You had funders, you had government agencies, you had the staff from both organizations working well together. And for me, the other thing that jumps out at me was that both organizations had a history of working together. And I think for organizations that are contemplating merger, doing so with groups with whom they have like existing ties and existing relations have a far greater likelihood of success than if there isn't any sort of pre-existing ties.
We benefited from, I think, the work that staff at Palladia did for over many, many years, and we were open-minded to learning from them as much as we hope that they learned from SUS. And now we really are, after I think a year and a half, becoming one organization, both culturally and the standards of quality.